Welcome back for another video. Due to the crazy schedule this week, the Players to Buy videos come in before all the games have finished, and this is basically the only way that I'm able to squeeze in all 4 of the usual videos for you. What also does work in our favour, in fairness, is the majority of the fixtures that we want to target next game week have already played this midweek. So Goalkeepers first, and on a free hit, or maybe if you're playing draft or challenge, you could go for Ramsdale given that they're home to Burnley, and that is one of those standout fixtures this week, but obviously outside of that, avoid him. Pope's expected back around game week 18, so it's just a booked in headache later if you were to buy him now. And it's not like Ramsdale's 4 mil either, he's 4.8 mil. Donnarumma is joint top with Ramsdale this week. The other fixture that's got high potential is Man City home to Sunderland. Sunderland is not an easy fixture, I know. However, that game and Newcastle home to Burnley is going to have some of the best clean sheet odds this week. They'll definitely be the top 2. Donnarumma is actually on 4 yellow cards, as you might have heard, so basically he needs to go 5 more games without getting one, or he's going to miss 1 game of suspension. He's going to be absolutely aware of this, of course, so he might not get that 5th now, and realistically keepers should be avoiding yellow cards, especially when they know they need to avoid one. Whereas for outfield players, it's a bit trickier because you can accidentally catch a player in a challenge when it wasn't your intention. I mean, it's mad for a keeper to be on 4 already. Arsenal have got a trickier fixture. They're away to Aston Villa, so that places Raya 3rd top this week on 3.9 points. But he's still top of all keepers for the next 5 projections, so he's still the one if you're wildcarding for me. Who's got the most projected clean sheets then? From game week 15 onwards, it's Arsenal with 3 over the next 6, Man City 2.3, Liverpool 2.1, and then Newcastle 2.0. Bournemouth have slipped way down to just 1.4, which is the same as Aston Villa and Spurs. So these are defences to look at hopping off if you've got any of them in your team. We'll talk defenders next and which players to look at from those top teams. So Keane wasn't in Everton's squad for their away game to Bournemouth, but they still managed to keep the clean sheet. And Tarkowski actually tops the table this week with 4.8 points, playing home to Forest. Everton were 4th top on those clean sheet odds before for game week 15, 37% for them. And he's great for Defcons as well, but his price is a bit off-putting. Moyes said the following on Keane. He had a little bit of an injury going into Newcastle's game, and he played, but unfortunately he couldn't make this one, so we've had to make a change. We don't know how long he's going to be out. We hope he might recover quite quickly. So yeah, it doesn't sound promising as far as next game week based off that remark, but we'll hear from him again before the deadline in this press conference. Overall, Newcastle were ahead of Everton though for longer term clean sheet projections. Newcastle's even longer run is Burnley, Sunderland, Chelsea, Man United, Burnley, Palace, Leeds and Wolves. So it's a really nice run. And this week, Chow is 2nd on the table, and then it's Livramento. The only reason that Hall and Burn aren't on the table is because their default expected minutes are a little bit lower on FPL review, but if we bump them up then they'd be firmly on the table as well. In fact, Hall, if he was to get 90 minutes, would be top, but will he get 90? Will he start? Newcastle are a little bit tricky to predict. Hull's got Champions League away to Leverkusen next week as well, midweek, and he did have some good bench depth available last night, like Cher, who could be used, maybe he won't be. And they had Gordon and Bruno G on the bench as well, who probably both come into the starting 11 next game week. Burn and Livramento actually seem like the safest options for nailed-ness. I mean, Burn, to be fair, he never misses a game except for that suspension recently, and Tripp is out till the new year, so Livramento looks solid as well. It feels like there might be some rotation risks with the City defence as well. Same story with Man City. Pep surprised us all with no rotation against Fulham, and it's just as well really because they just edged a 5-4 win over them. We did see Vardy and O'Reilly among those in the back line, who I'd say are City's most appealing defenders. But Man City face Real Madrid next week as well, which is worth noting. Cheap defenders Van Heck and Anderson both make the table. Brighton face West Ham home, and Fulham are home to Palace. If you're in need of a cheap defender and you don't own either of these two, then Anderson's the one. He's on 20.2 projected points for the next 5, which is top of all defenders that are 5 million and under in fact. 16.2 for comparison for Van Heck. Are you guys making a defender transfer this week? Let us know in the comments what your transfer plans are. Midfielders next. Now, the Man United defence isn't of much interest, however they're facing Wolves next, and the attackers certainly are. It's Bruno who tops the table this week, he's on 6.3 points. It's all about Foden right now, of course, though, isn't it? Like back-to-back braces, 15 and 17 pointers, and he even got DEFCON points against Fulham out of nowhere. That's only the second time all season that he's done that. It's Sunderland home next as well for Man City. Did any of you move early on the price rise, or are you waiting? The only caveat with Foden is, as I say, there's that Real Madrid fixture on Wednesday, where he'll definitely start that one, but you'd imagine he probably starts against Sunderland as well, because Sunderland, no easy fixture, and they've shown more than enough quality to firmly stay up this season, so it could be a start and maybe an early sub if City are a goal or two to the good. If you're on a free hit, then Gordon could be an opportunity. Off the bench last match, and he scored from the penalty spot against Spurs. We knew that he was their #1 pen taker this season. Basically, it's Voltemada when Gordon's not on the pitch. If I had to guess, then I'd say a Gordon start and an early substitution, maybe like 65 minutes or so, but that could be more than enough for him to have got a return already against Burnley. So FIFA have allowed clubs to keep African players until December 15th for AFCON, even though they were meant to join up their national teams from December 7th, so basically over a week earlier. And it's unclear what that means for Man United, or Mbeumo and Ahmad specifically, given that they're the only team that plays on the 15th December. So the next game could be their last, or failing that, they'll get Bournemouth home out of them as well in Gameweek 16. Either way, Mbeumo is another one that looks amazing on a free hit, but it doesn't really make sense to buy and then immediately sell. You're better off just going Cunha if you want an extra United attacker, or if you don't own one, who isn't far behind Mbeumo, to be fair. It might be a case of clubs individually negotiating with the international teams, because the African clubs aren't happy about this at all, given that they've organised friendlies and they're going to have less prep time with the squad. I'm sure Man United will be asking for the late release straight after Bournemouth in Gameweek 16 if possible, but we'll know for sure nearer the time. Minte is the standout cheap pick with 4.7 projected points this week for that West Ham fixture, only 6.3 mil. The other cheap mid that many look towards as a SAR replacement is Anderson from Forest, who's 0.9 million cheaper at 5.4, but for comparison he's on 3.7 projected points. 18.1 for Anderson for the next 5 versus Minte's 19.3, so Minte wins in that respect but costs you a little bit more. Some other honourable mentions: Bruno G on a free hit should start after his benching, and he got a goal off the bench as well midweek. He's on 4.7 points, as is Ndai 4.7, Semenyo 4.1, Dewsbury Hall 3.9. Finishing up with the forwards, and Haaland's obviously well in front this week, 7.2 points, followed by Voltemada 5.3, Mateta 4.5, and then it's Låbakk and Thiago tied on 4.3. So should you triple captain Haaland then, given he's got such a great fixture? Well, on paper, West Ham home in Gameweek 17 is the better fixture-wise, and obviously the surrounding schedule as well, because it's League Cup midweek before that game, and there's no midweek game after it. The one thing with Voltemada is Visser's nearing a return, and he has withdrawn from AFCON as well to focus on the club, so there might finally be reduced expected minutes of Voltemada, although he's still a solid pick in the context of how uninspiring the other forwards are right now. Mateta is ahead of Voltemada in terms of projected points over the next 5, and Thiago is as well. In fact, he's obviously quite a bit cheaper, and now that Arsenal game is out of the way for Brentford, he looks an amazing second or third forward for your team, depending on if you're running a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. Well, actually a 4-4-2 actually looks great right now as well. There's a lot of appealing defenders. Let us know below, what formation have you been playing the most recently, and are you looking to change that or not? And lastly, we looked at the projected clean sheets, so let's finish up with a look at the projected goals for all teams. Who's got the best fixtures? It's Liverpool that are the leaders there with 13.3 over the next 6, then it's Man City close behind with 13, and then it's Arsenal, then it's Newcastle. Now obviously the recurring difficulty with Liverpool this season is the lack of options. Salah's just been too expensive for his output this season. Gakpo has done well at times, but he's just not completely nailed, and Szoboszlai just not much of a goal threat. Man City, it's Foden and Haaland, but I wouldn't risk anyone else outside of those two. Arsenal, I'd say it's just Saka. I'd probably look to move Eze on if you've got him still, with the attackers that are returning from injury. And Newcastle, it's kind of the same issue. There's just lots of rotation risk outside of Voltemada, and even he could be a risk when Wisser's back. Like Barnes, Gordon, Murphy, just not worth it. Besides on a free hit perhaps, as we said earlier. For Chelsea, Enzo's the standout. Palmer perhaps in Gameweek 16 from Everton home onwards if you're targeting goals, or on a free hit that week perhaps, if that's when you're using it. From Brighton, it's just Minte, and Brentford, Schade and Thiago. I should actually give an honourable mention to Låbakk as well when talking about Brighton. He's not doing bad this season at all. Though obviously the striker projections did favour Thiago heavily for about the same price. So I'd rather Thiago, and I'd rather have Minte for a similar price in midfield than having Thiago, Låbakk and Haaland, if that makes sense. From Man United it's Bruno and Cunha. From Palace it's Mateta, just Mateta actually. And Bournemouth I'd say is Semenyo, and that's about it. But I mean, Semenyo and Bournemouth are mid-table here for projected goals, so that could mean an opportunity to sell him this week. And I'm sure Semenyo to Foden is going to be one of the most popular moves. As I say, my free hit is active, so I'm going to run through my team tomorrow. Plus there'll be the experts video and Tom's team selection on Friday. Let us know what your transfer plans are in the comments and hit subscribe while you're there. Thank you for watching as always, and see you soon for the next one.